Good evening. A lot to get to tonight. We begin at 5 with the plan to try and slow the spread of COVID for a second winter as cases rise across the country. We've been seeing video of the storm moving in overnight. You can see on radar behind us, it's still churning inland. This system has a lot of tentacles to it. It's not just the damage we're seeing along the coast now. It's also the flooding that is yet to come, not only on the beach, but also in the rivers and the streams inland. Welcome back to our race day coverage as the sun begins to appear over the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Dustin Grove along with Julia Brooks outside Gate 1. And you know, Julia, the Andretti name has been synonymous with IndyCar racing for more than 50 years. That's why the president laid out a 5-step plan today to try and contain the spread. So let's break it down here. Like we mentioned, the first few steps are all about vaccinations. Up first, increasing booster shots. Turns out 100 million Americans are eligible but haven't gotten theirs yet. One of the questions we've been wondering is, at what point do police use force with the crowd when things are getting tense, when a peaceful protest starts to take a turn for the unruly? I talked with a retired Los Angeles County Sheriff Commander earlier this evening. Well, he had right to breaking news out west tonight. Oh, look at that. That's a live picture, dramatic images from Boulder, Colorado, where a massive wildfire is burning right now. So far, 2 entire cities have been ordered to evacuate. And a portion of a normally busy highway out there, U.S. Highway 36, has been shut down. That wildfire is one of several that started in that area today, and you can see the smoke from that vantage point just for miles. Officials say they were likely caused by downed power lines, and it just took off from there. That area, as we've told you, it's had an extremely dry fall, and most of winter has followed the same pattern, meaning this can lead to some really extreme conditions. And Sean, the winds are what really drove this thing today. They were above 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to the 13 Newsroom, where we will be tracking the statewide races as the results come in this evening. And we're also watching this. That quest for the 270 electoral votes. Now, this is the projection from NBC News as to what we have right now. The states in blue are safe for Biden. The states in red, solidly Trump. Now, look at all the gray, though. There are more than 200 electoral votes still up for grabs tonight. The 2 most important prizes here, and pretty critical for President Trump, Florida and Texas. Look how many electoral votes each has. Now, watch what happens. He needs to win one of these, because if both of them go Biden, look what happens. We've got more than those 270 votes. If, though, he can retain one of them, let's say he gets Texas, but he doesn't get Florida, then these states become important. Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. He would likely need to win 3, preferably 4, to be within striking distance of Joe Biden. Here's what's interesting, though. None of those states say they will be finished counting their ballots by the end of the night, so that's why we likely may not have an answer as to who wins the White House tonight. We'll continue to follow it throughout the evening. One of the most common questions we get from viewers is just how many people have survived COVID-19? How many people are recovered? Well, the experts at the Regenstrief Institute estimate 68% of Hoosiers diagnosed have recovered. They figure about 30% are still actively fighting the virus, and sadly, 2% have died. That purple sliver there represents just over 5,400 people. And here's something to consider before today's lunch. Subway's tuna sandwiches may not actually contain any tuna. That's according to the New York Times. That claim was first made in a lawsuit back in January. We've been telling you about this since then. I'm just going to call it Tunagate. So the Times put the Subway tuna to the test. They actually sent it off to a lab. The results found no identifiable tuna DNA in the Subway sandwich. In fact, researchers said it was so processed they couldn't make out any species. Subway has not yet responded to that Times report. Julia, though, have you had the Subway tuna?
Yes, that's actually all I get, or the veggie, so I'm really troubled. What would it be then?
I don't know. It tastes good to me, and that's all I'm concerned about, I guess.
Really? Oh, I've got way more concerns. Really? If it's not tuna, I want to know what it is.
We'll see what Subway has to say. Back to tonight's big story now. We talked a lot about COVID-19, the case numbers, how many people are hospitalized, how many people have died. Now, we've heard some of you who say, we're making a bigger deal out of it than it is, and that something like 98% of people who get the coronavirus survive. So tonight, we're digging into that. We'll verify the survival rate. We're also talking with survivors about what they experienced and how long it lasted. And we'll share a study focused on figuring out the long-term effects for those survivors.
This is my kids right here going down into the window well so that they can talk to their daddy.
Last March, this was Sean Steffen's painful reality. Confined to the basement with COVID-19 for 3 weeks, separated from his young boys.
Talk to him.
Hi.
And wife Heather.
Breaks my heart because they miss Sean so much.
Sean had the classic symptoms.
Oh, the shakes.
Body aches, extreme fatigue, a loss of taste and smell, and trouble breathing too.
Oh my God, just walk into the bathroom was just...
7 months later, how you feeling?
Pretty good.
But for this Warrior Dash runner and Spartan racer, it hasn't been an easy journey back, and he's still not there.
But now I got all these other symptoms that I've never had before.
High blood pressure, constant jitters, he says, and a lack of concentration.
I call it foggy brain because I'll go to the refrigerator and forget what it is I'm there for. Those things never happened to me. It's brand new, and it happened overnight.
The New York Times reported this fall that brain fog has affected thousands of survivors, in some cases impeding their ability to work and function in daily life. Meanwhile, Mandy Westerfield considers herself lucky.
We were able to recover at home, and took us about a week or so.
After about a month,
The only lasting symptom is it's taken a while for some of my senses to recover.
But no new symptoms at all.
No new symptoms at all.
which is what makes this new virus so mysterious as scientists try and figure out why it leaves no mark on some and significant struggles for others. Sean Steffen says while it's true almost everyone who gets COVID survives.
Yeah, that's great. But even the survivors are surviving with something else.
A new battle to try and conquer.